I personally believe that our biggest value add isn't just like in the collecting of the data. I mean, everyone has training in like rigorous research, but it's about translating from information to insight. So, like going from the what to the so what.
Welcome to MRII's Insights and Innovators podcast, where we talk to top market research professionals to get their inside stories about innovative and enduring best practices. Now, here's your host for today's episode.
Welcome to today's episode, Fast, Focused, and FinTech, Research at the Speed of Robinhood. I'm your host, Katie Gross, and today we're diving into the world of FinTech with a company that's changed the way millions of people invest. Our guest, Celeste Ridlen, is head of research at Robinhood, where she leads a team helping the company stay close to the needs and expectations of a new generation of investors. We'll talk about how research drives innovation at Robinhood, what it takes to be an effective insights leader today, and the evolving expectations from the C-suite in high-growth, disruptive organizations. Welcome, Celeste.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to set the stage a little bit to talk about the role of insights at Robinhood. So Robinhood really has redefined access to investing. So how does the research team help support that mission?
Yeah. So our mission is to democratize finance for all. It's actually something that we repeat at the beginning of every company all hands. So it feels important to like highlight that mission aloud. But the co-founders actually started the company doing a lot of research themselves at Stanford. They were like intercepting Stanford students and stuff. So yeah, every startup has some version of that story, but the difference is that Robinhood really stayed rooted in that foundation. So today, um, our team and research in general is serving as a lighthouse on our product and marketing journey, cutting through, let's call it the fog of our assumptions or our gut instincts, guiding us away from maybe costly missteps or mistakes and keeping aligned on what matters, which is really the needs of the customers that we serve. So I would say that's how we do it.
That's awesome. I really love that phrase, the lighthouse through the fog.
Yeah.
What else do you think kind of really enables research to thrive in this kind of environment?
Yeah. Well, because being super customer focused is in our DNA, we have sort of an inverse problem from everywhere else I've worked, like every PM, every executive, marketer, designer. They're all up and down the chain using insights to navigate decisions. We have opportunities to be customer oriented in everything. No one, and this is going to come as a surprise, but no one's ever questioned if research is important or should be a part of the process, which I'm kind of alluding to here is really unique in my experience. So it's, I think it's that foundation and that culture from the beginning that's enabled that consistent baking in and approach to doing this.
That's amazing. Like how freeing to know that like your
I
company is
know.
putting that consumer insight first. And it's never, viewed as an expense, but more so viewed as critical, which is awesome.
Yep.
Do you have
Yep.
any some examples where insights have made like a really meaningful impact on a product or a marketing strategy at Robinhood?
Yeah. So for confidentiality reasons, I can't go into too many specifics, but what I can say is that research is informing everything here from our company strategy, acquisitions we're considering, shaping details behind our product and marketing. I can't talk specifics, but I can say that if you're looking at any of our products, if you see any of our marketing out in the wild, even our brand colors, each of those are examples of Insight's impact on marketing and product. There were a lot of iterations to get to what we end up launching. We also do things like evaluate our brand assets, measure impact of brand refreshes, which we did one, I don't know, maybe a year to 18 months ago. I don't know if anyone noticed. Um, and measure, we even identify and measure brand attributes that we want to drive forward. So things like momentum and trust and like perceptions of trust. So it's not just that we're looking at business KPIs, we're also trying to help marketing um, drive sentiment and attitudes in the sorts of things that we value for ourselves. The work, generally speaking, is shaping what we do, who should use it, how to best build it, and then how to talk about it.
Wow, this sounds like insights manager's dream, that it really does
Yeah,
sound like
it's a lot of
you
fun.
every step, which is awesome. How do you ensure that it seems like the research is acted upon, impacted, not just kind of like delivered? So how do you really ensure, what do you think it is that's taken that's gotten you to that place where it's so listened to and so critical?
Yeah, I mean, I can't take credit. Like I said, it's like in our DNA, but I think it's our game to lose. Like every day we have to show up and do well, or they're gonna stop trusting us, basically. I personally believe that our biggest value add isn't just like in the collecting of the data. I mean, everyone has training in like rigorous research, but it's about translating from information to insight. So, like going from the what to the so what. So,
Yeah.
to use a vague example, let's say I said people need to know X, Y, and Z details in order to feel confident to move forward through like a workflow or a process or sign up for like a particular kind of account, versus like the message that we tested was too vague. Like one of those is still data, it's still information you could do something with, but the initial thing I shared is like much more actionable, probably even shelf stable. We could use that for other things later on instead of conducting like a net new insight. Um, that said, as much as we're culturally immersed in insights and research, I would be super concerned if I'm going to say something controversial. I'm sorry in advance, but I would actually be really concerned if the organization was taking like 100% of our advice because we're one lens, we're one input. And sometimes the response isn't, no, your insights aren't helpful, or like, I reject that advice, but rather like, not right now. Here are these business reasons. Thank you for this seed. We're gonna, plant this for the long term. So it's a delicate balance.
Yeah, it really does have to be like data plus instinct. That really
Right.
is kind of where that
Right.
magic happens. You've touched upon this a little bit around the kind of executive team and how they were already intercepting
Right.
from the very beginning. What does the exec team expect from kind of the insights function, and how do you demonstrate value and impact to those kind of senior stakeholders today?
Yeah. At a high level, they're looking for help seeing around corners, which is sounds like magic, I know, but it's really about vetting and understanding our next opportunities. If we have hunches about things like the greatest generational wealth transfer that's ever happened, going from one group to another, what part do we play in that and with our unique value adds and what we already have? But it's not just about answering their questions, it's also like the trade-offs that they're facing. So it ends up being a lot around you could do this way, but make sure that you're considering these things,
Yeah,
or you're not on that optimal path. Or between A and B, A is better, but if you're going to do B, here are the trade-offs that you're facing, even though that's still an okay decision. Things like that. So it gets very textured and nuanced very quickly. It's as long as everyone's aware of the insights and the trade-offs in order to make their decisions, I'm doing my job.
yeah, that's
And
awesome.
you asked about demonstrating impact. Did I
Yeah,
lose
yeah.
it?
Is there a
Okay.
way that we demonstrate that impact?
Yeah, we're looking at metrics holistically. So funded customers, platform assets, kind of the stuff in our earnings calls. But I also mentioned this earlier that we're looking at like things that customers think and feel, brand attributes in the broader space like trust, or like perceived trustworthiness. My team is only 25 people, so it's not like we can research everything under the sun, but that makes it really easy to demonstrate impact because we can just always prioritize the most important things to the business where we have sort of like the highest leverage with our talents. Um, I can point to things like, because the business success is our success, I can point to things like, here's what we didn't know first, here's where we learned, here's what we're
Mhm.
doing about it, and here's sort of the downstream either marketing spend, ROI, other business metrics we care about. Like we can
Yeah.
tie the successes to what we learned. And it's not a perfect science, but um, it's helpful to sort of root it in how the business is doing. There are sometimes A/B comparisons we can make, but those are
Yeah.
lucky.
It sounds like a dream place to work for insights people. The size of the team, the trust you have from leadership, that kind
It's
of
great.
ROI measure is amazing.
Yeah, I'm very lucky.
Yeah. Focusing over on kind of the research approaches, how do you stay that classic word, agile? How do you stay agile in your research approach with such a kind of, really dynamic and trusted user base?
Yeah, yeah, it's tricky because we want our customers to grow with us, or maybe I should say we want to grow with our customers.
Mhm.
And they're growing very fast, but because we are a like safety first company, we are really big on building things responsibly and well. It's a big deal to be in the finance space and be really safety oriented. As we build out more and more, it can be really tricky tying that ecosystem all together and then refining the story that we want to tell about ourselves quickly, as fast as the markets move, which, whew, they move fast now. Um, Part of being a researcher in tech at a company of this general size is that you have to be responsive to circumstance. So, like, what you're going to do at any company and any set of constraints is just as important as like how you use it to deliver insight. But to answer the question about agility, what it comes down to at Robinhood with research is great tools and great partners in order to be able to approach with speed and rigor and the level of safety necessary. But we're
Yeah.
constantly evolving our process. And so some of those 25 people are actually research ops folks who
Mhm.
purely focus on making sure that we're consistently refining our process, have the best tools we can, and that those tools are serving us and our partners.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we just have to keep iterating forever. It's a mountain
Yeah.
we never summit.
That's great. The kind of role of res ops is something I've definitely started to see come out over the last 2 years. So great to see that is kind of like a part of the team, not just researchers, but people who can operationalize it too.
They're our backbone.
Yeah. Are there methods or tools that the team is using now that you're finding especially valuable or experimenting with? I'm sure you're going to say something in AI.
I know I would be remiss not to bring it up because yeah, I mean there's of course like safety and risk associated risks with using AI.
Yep.
But if we're being responsible, if we're mitigating those up front, if we're checking our work, it's helping us go faster. It's helping us challenge even the rigor of our research designs, challenge our thinking as we analyze data. It's like a thought partner that we can tailor to our specific cases. We've even used it to provide first passes on new material based on like previous data. And then my favorite is I don't know how much you hear about that age-old research repository issue.
Oh
I
yeah.
have never I have never found one that solves the problem fully. But it feels like AI was the missing piece because we have like 500 research reports now in and counting inside this almost like chat bot that you can have a discussion with. Anyone at the company can start from that point.
Yeah.
And that living resource has like been super helpful in terms of making sure that we're making everybody smarter and our work goes further too. So yes, AI is the rough answer.
Yeah. Amazing. I think chatting to the data is definitely the future of insights for
It's so
sure.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know the Matt, our CEO that you've met, has a chat to his
Yeah.
book, his latest book, and yesterday he presented it to a customer and then he gave them a download. There was a bot that was chat to his presentation. So if anybody kind of missed
Oh,
it or wants further talk to him, he could chat to the
that's
presentation.
really I really like that. That's clever. There's
Yeah.
lots of, I've seen people create bots too of themselves.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm going on PTO. If you're on my team and you want feedback on something, here's like all the feedback I've ever given you fed into this bot. And now it's going to give you feedback on whatever it is you need while I'm gone.
Yeah.
I think those are really cool applications for things like research insights. I'm glad that the research team is owning and driving it because I think there's still some considerations. So, like we're talking about, the financial market is really um, moves quickly and is
Mhm.
2022 markets are different than now. People's
Yeah.
attitudes and perceptions and expectations change just as quickly as the markets do. And so our data can get stale very quickly. That said, there are some things that are sort of shelf stable and persistent across that same amount of time. And so, us being able to articulate and train on here's what you would surface first, here's what is not okay to surface past a certain point of, let's say, staleness, here's
Yeah.
what's evergreen. And so, being able to articulate and dictate what and how the insights are getting surfaced has been,
Yeah.
I think, the most important part because anybody can use AI. I love
Yeah.
that about it, but making sure that it's not drawing people down the wrong paths,
Right.
that becomes an expensive mistake for us. So I
Very
think that
much.
piece of it has been uh, really important.
Yeah, like auditing what it's being trained on, to your point. Is it out of date? Is
Right,
it 2021 perceptions, not today, and so on? Because
right.
consumers move fast. So without
Yes,
there
they do.
being yet a Celeste GPT, how do you train that team? Like what are those essential kind of new roles, responsibilities, and skills that the team needs to have today?
Yeah, if we were hiring somebody um, today, I think what has evolved, there's the general like research skill set, but that's like the floor.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to do that. And we're not looking for things that are easily Googleable, right? There's like a mindset that people bring to research that's like more of what we're looking for in that
Yeah.
baseline expectation. But beyond top of mind research rigor, it becomes more and more about flexibility and critical thinking. So if there's a gap between knowing something and from like a book or a classroom and then applying it, that
Yeah.
becomes a really important thing to discern as fast as possible. It's very hard to train internalizing information or the fact that there's like not a perfect data set. Like I also find that being flexible and having sharp critical thinking skills ends up being core to knowing the difference between insights and information. And so it's something I've always looked for, but I think more than ever, those are attributes I look for in uh, new folks because the tools are changing so fast. And so being flexible, thinking through the implications, not just of your research, but of the tools you're using, what you can do differently with your time based on that, super important. And then curiosity. So curiosity is at the root of like a bunch of really great skills, but then also the lack of curiosity, I think, is at the root of quite a few problems. Sorry, I have a puppy trying to get me to pick him up.
One, two.
And then I think this is true for everyone, but just like navigating constraints and ambiguity is always nice. So these are like really basic human skills, not research skills. I acknowledge that.
Yeah, but they're really critical, and I think we used to as researchers spend so much time gathering the data, writing the survey, putting together our PowerPoints. That you're right, that's all now just table stakes. Tools are doing it, so we have to be more creative, understand correlation, not causation. To your point,
Yeah.
leveraging insights, not just information. It's the so what? What are we doing with this? Not just
Yeah.
here's what I found.
There's taste and judgment involved, right? In
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. And if we're talking about AI again, like the you need to know whether or not the output is quality. You need to know that you're going to have to check in and figure out, perhaps backtrack, like how did he get to this answer? Is this valid? Is this something that's scalable?
Yeah.
And I don't think that those qualities you could possess strong amounts of those qualities and not be able to adapt to that sort
Yeah.
of approach with research
Yeah.
too.
It's almost like the balance between IQ and EQ is definitely shifting towards more EQ today than it maybe did 10 years ago, I think, in research.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So my last question, if you had a magic wand and could fix one thing in consumer research today, what would it be?
I feel like you know what I'm gonna say because because I'm always harping on the same thing here. Bots and fraud. So data accuracy, like qualitatively and quantitatively, data accuracy is getting more and more difficult to achieve every single day. So um, we've even noticed people using ChatGPT in interviews because they're like if you say you're an options trader and you're not an options trader, you're going to need to use ChatGPT to figure out how to talk to us to prove to us that you're an options trader.
Yeah.
That's like a random example, but it takes many forms. That's one of them. I think there's lots of survey fraud happening, and
Yeah.
it's a huge, huge pain point. I don't see it slowing down.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, maybe we need AI to like solve our problems that AI is creating, to have
Yeah.
the snake eat its tail a little bit, but it's it's the thing that I worry about the most.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Data quality, data quality, data quality. And as you mentioned, it's coming up in qual because they can sit there. It's almost like you need to have like please show
Right?
buttons while you're on this conversation. And I think that probably is why we're seeing that kind of increase in qualitative research today is to help with that quality.
Yeah. I mean, you're only as good as the insights, the quality of the
Yeah,
insights you have, right? Which is foundational to the data.
exactly. Yeah, and ties right back to that first point we had there, which is trust of your executive team is only going to come through trust in the data.
Hmm. Hmm. And we could lose it any day based on
Yeah.
bot intervention.
Yeah. Well, we could chat all day long about all of these topics, Celeste, but that is all the time we have today for Insights and Innovators. So a huge thank you for sharing your perspective on leading research at Robinhood. And until next time, I'm Katie Gross. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining the Insights and Innovators podcast from Market Research Institute International. Click subscribe to never miss an episode and visit us at mrii.org for more market research insights.